Welcome in, everyone, to the Football Addicts Anonymous podcast. Looks like it's just me today. That's fine. It'll be really, really short then. It was already going to be a short show with not much going on this weekend. Teams are opening up OTAs this week, so we might get some more storylines for Friday's show, but we'll have to wait and see on that. I don't know if Mark's coming on or not. He said he might zoom in at work. But like I said, it's all right if it's just me. So let's get it rolling here. Like I said, not much news going on. There's a little bit that came out today. So we'll start with that. Like I said, OTAs do begin today for most of the league. If they did not start today, then they will be starting tomorrow for some teams. But one of the biggest storylines out of OTAs and guys reporting today for the workouts, Aaron Rodgers not at Packers practice, obviously expected. We all know he wants out. Still waiting to see if someone is willing to throw in a bevy of picks or players to get A-Rod, but he is not there. But like I said, that was expected from the start. Another big thing happening today: Julio Jones, the Falcons wide receiver, Shannon Sharp on Undisputed, which is a show with Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless. Shannon Sharp called Julio and talked to him a little bit, and Julio said, quote, "I'm out of there," when talking about Atlanta. And apparently he requested a trade months ago, so way before the draft. And what we heard from Atlanta, Ian Rappaport said sources had told him that the Falcons are asking for at least a first-round pick. So the consensus is that no one's willing to pay that right now for the multi-time Pro Bowler, multi-time All-Pro. And I agree. I would not pay a first-round pick right now for Julio Jones, like we discussed before, on the wrong side of 30. The contract is an issue as well. I have a hard time seeing anyone pay a first-round pick for Julio unless we get to the point, where it's one of those training camp things. Like we had, obviously this is a quarterback example, but Sam Bradford with the Eagles years ago, getting traded to the Vikings for a first-round pick after their quarterback, Teddy Bridgewater, had went down in training camp for the season. So unless that happens to a major receiver on a team that doesn't have much depth, I highly doubt that Atlanta's ever going to get a first-round pick for Julio. Doesn't seem like he wants to be there. So again, it's just another player added to the list of potential trades we could see, this off season, going into training camp and the preseason. That list includes, like I said, Aaron Rodgers. We have Deshaun Watson. Russell Wilson's not there anymore. He's fine in Seattle now. We have Julio. But yeah. The next thing here, so the Broncos, their linebacker Bradley Chubb, he had an ankle procedure to remove a bone spur. He'll be in a boot for a few weeks, going to miss OTAs and whatnot, but will be good to go once July and training camp roll around there. And then two signings just coming across today. The Panthers, they signed defensive tackle Karan Reed, former fifth-round pick in 2014 of the Lions, has moved around the league a bit, but good ad for Scott Fitter and the personnel staff there in Carolina. Solid defensive tackle depth there. And then finally, there is other wide receiver news today from Atlanta. The Falcons signed wide receiver Tajay Sharp. He was just let go a couple of weeks ago, and I'm blanking on who he was let go by. But that is the beauty of technology and having multiple screens in front of you, is that we can look these things up, rather quickly. So yes, he was with the Kansas City Chiefs, and they released him. So yes, now in Atlanta. So Mark is not coming on. Getting that update right now. Funny story. He was on lifeguarding duty, and a child decided to defecate in the pool. So that's always fun. All right. So that is all the NFL news. I have not seen anything new come across Twitter feed. So we will move on. Like I said, really quick show today. I mean, 8 minutes. We're cool. I'm going to try to push it. It's going to be hard, but we're going to get through it. So doing the AFC South draft recaps today. So we have Trevor Lawrence, first overall to the Jags. Kwity Paye, 21st overall to the Colts. Caleb Farley, 22nd to the Titans. And then Travis Etienne, 25th back to the Jags. And then, although it's not a first-round pick, we do put every team's first pick of the draft on here. So the Texans all the way at number 67 overall in the third round, they took Davis Mills. So start off with the Jags here. So like I said, Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, both out of Clemson in the first round. Second round, two guys, corner Tyson Campbell out of Georgia and offensive tackle Walker Little out of Stanford. Third round, safety Andre Sisco out of Syracuse. Two fourth-rounders, defensive tackle Jay Tufele out of USC, edge rusher Jordan Smith out of UAB. Fifth-rounder, tight end Luke Farrell out of Ohio State. And then their last pick, sixth-rounder, wide receiver Jalen Camp out of Georgia Tech. ESPN currently has the Jags with two rookie starters. That is Lawrence and Etienne. None of the other guys made it, at least yet. But I do like four guys on the Jags, including the top two guys. Trevor Lawrence, touted as one of the best quarterback prospects in the last 20 years, right up there with Andrew Luck, Peyton Manning, and the likes. I know I had heard some people say they had him graded higher than Andrew Luck when he came out in 2012. So that is very high praise for Trevor Lawrence, winning as quarterback in Clemson history. He was just fantastic. Only lost two times at Clemson. So it's going to be tough, I think, for him to lose a lot with the Jags. I mean, I don't think they're going to lose a lot. I think they're going to be probably a mid-tier team. But yeah, they're definitely going to lose more than his career losses at Clemson. So second guy, like I said, I like the top two. Travis Etienne. Originally on draft night, Chris and I both were puzzled by the Etienne selection. They had fantastic production out of undrafted free agent James Robinson at the running back position last year. They also have Carlos Hyde. But the Clemson connection was really, I think, the reason why they did it. Also, I think they wanted an upgrade as with receiving out of the backfield, and Etienne definitely does that. He's a better receiver than James Robinson is. And it's interesting, though, as well, because Etienne has been taking all of his rookie minicamp and OTA. Well, I'm not sure about OTA snaps, but I know rookie minicamp, he was only going at wide receiver, did not line up as a traditional running back at all in rookie minicamp. So that was interesting, to say the least. But yeah, loved Etienne. You know, I thought he was the best running back in the draft. Najee Harris went ahead of him 3 selections. But yeah, love Travis Etienne. I know he's not going to be the number 1 fantasy pick, but definitely should be a top 3 or 4 there in your dynasty leagues. Next guy for the Jags that I really liked. I'm skipping the Georgia guy. I know. Trust me, I have already said this, Georgia fans. I'm a Bulldog, I know. But I was not a fan of I was not too big of a fan of the Georgia secondary players. I know they can play, but I was indifferent about them. I'll just say that. But the next guy I liked is their other second rounder, Walker Little, the offensive tackle out of Stanford. You know, he had injury issues. Then he opted out in 2020. So he has to prove he can play. You know, going in the second round, 45th overall was, you know, I think a gift to him. I thought probably he was going to slip to the 3rd round, but Jags definitely needed offensive line help. Cam Robinson's on the franchise tag. You know, they have Norwell. The right side, I'm not so sold on. Jawan Taylor at tackle and AJ Cann at right guard. Brandon Linder's solid at center. But yeah, Walker Little slated in the 3rd string left tackle spot right now. I don't think he's going to stay there. I think at the very least, he'll end up as the swing tackle this year. Has to prove he can stay on the field. And, you know, I think he will be very good going up against Caleb Chason and Josh Allen in practice. So, last guy I like for the Jags here, J2 Fele, the 4th rounder out of USC, defensive tackle. He is slated as the backup to Malcolm Brown at nose. Hard-nosed guy, you know, motor for days. He just loves ball. Very disruptive. Needs to work on some pass rush moves. But overall, I think he will be a good fit on that interior defensive line for the Jags. Moving on to the Indianapolis Colts here. So ESPN has the Colts with 1 starter. That is Kwity Paye, who they took 21st overall, the edge rusher out of Michigan. 2nd rounder, they went back-to-back edge with Dayo Adeyingbo out of Vanderbilt. 4th round, tight end Kyle Granson out of SMU. 5th round, safety Sean Davis out of Florida. 6th, quarterback Sam Ehlinger out of Texas. And then 2 7th rounders, wide receiver Mike Strachan out of Charleston, West Virginia. And then guard Will Fries out of Penn State. Wasn't that big of a fan of the Colts draft. I did like 2 guys, though. Kwity Paye, the 1st rounder there out of Michigan. Definitely needed pass rush help. Did not re-sign Justin Houston. So they were left with Taekwon Lewis, Al-Qadim Muhammad, Kamoko Toure, and the rest of the guys there at edge, defensive end, in their 4-3 base. So, you know, I don't know, though. Kwity Paye's kind of a half-star guy for me. He didn't really, because of the lack of sack production. It was the same thing with Odafe Owe for the Ravens. Are you able to turn pressures in college into sacks in the NFL? And I'm not so sold that that is the way that it works. But teams draft on potential, not necessarily production. So we'll have to see if Kwity Paye can turn some of those pressures into sacks this year as a starter at defensive end. So I did like him, though. Like I said, kind of a half star, though. So the only other guy I liked on the Colts, 6th round, quarterback Sam Ehlinger. Now I know they traded for Carson Wentz. They also have Jacob Eason, who they drafted in the 4th round last year. But what I do like from Sam Ehlinger is his toughness. The kid loves to play football. You could see it every time he ran with the ball. He has power when he runs. Not the biggest, not the strongest quarterback, but he does have leadership traits. And like I said, his toughness is grade A for me anyways. So that is the Colts. And we will head on to the Tennessee Titans here. They went with Caleb Farley, 1st round corner out of Virginia Tech. 2nd round offensive tackle Dylan Radins out of North Dakota State. 2 third-rounders, linebacker Monty Rice out of Georgia, and corner Elijah Molden out of Washington. 2 4th-rounders, wide receiver Des Fitzpatrick out of Louisville, and edge rusher Rashad Weaver out of Pitt. And then 2 6th-rounders, wide receiver Racey McMath out of LSU, and safety Brady Breeze out of Oregon. Now, I absolutely loved the Titans draft. I have everyone start except one guy, that is Racey McMath, in the 6th round. So get ready for a long Titans rant. So ESPN has them with the most starters in the division. 3, Caleb Farley at corner, Dylan Radins at right tackle, Des Fitzpatrick as the 3rd wide receiver behind A.J. Brown and Josh Reynolds, who they signed this offseason. Now, wide receiver was definitely a area of need after the loss of Corey Davis, the release of Adam Humphries. So, but we'll start off with Caleb Farley. Great get by the Titans. Now, he did undergo that back surgery to start right before the draft there. So teams knew he was not going to be available until training camp, possibly even missing a few games into the season. I think he'll be all right. I think he'll get done ready by training camp and be full go by then. But definitely another area of need for the Titans was secondary. Their secondary was absolutely atrocious last year. Just got lit up by almost everyone they played. So good gets by them all the way down at 22. Caleb Farley, up there when before the back news broke that Caleb Farley was, right there in the conversation as the top corners with Patrick Surtain and J.C. Horn. 2nd round, Dylan Radins out of North Dakota State, slotted in as the right tackle right now. Fantastic get for them. Great week at the Senior Bowl in Mobile. They needed a right tackle. So, again, I thought it was good for them to get value and fill a need at the same time. Obviously, they had the Isaiah Wilson issue, drafting him in the 1st round last year, having the personal problems, trading him to the Dolphins and whatnot. So they get a guy with good character here in Radins, and I think he'll be a solid starter on that right side. Next guy here, Monty Rice, linebacker out of Georgia. Now, Sea Dog fans, I do like one Georgia person, one Georgia player here today, and that is Monty Rice. So great leader for the Bulldog defense, and hard-nosed guy. I love his hustle. He's slated right now as the third string at one of the inside linebacker spots in Titans base 3-4. But I think, he could possibly be one of the backups along with David Long there behind Jayon Brown and Rashaan Evans. Again, not a need necessarily. Jayon Brown, Rashaan Evans, pretty solid, as well as David Long there. But great to get him in there, and they have now an excellent top four for that inside linebacker core. Their other third-round corner, Elijah Molden, again, like I said, secondary was a big need, especially at corner. They went out and got Janoris Jenkins in free agency, drafted Christian Fulton in the second round last year. They get two more guys in the top 3 rounds this year. Also brought in Kevin Johnson, a former first-rounder. So their corner room looks waves better than it did coming into the offseason. Eli Molden, I think he will probably battle with Christian Fulton for that third corner spot. And I think Molden especially will be able to win the starting slot corner job there. Next guy, Des Fitzpatrick, wide receiver out of Louisville, slotted in as the third wide receiver there. I remember I did not like him as that much at the Senior Bowl, but he kind of grew on me through the pre-draft process, into the draft. Thought it was a great get at 109 overall in the 4th round there by the Titans, and to get a 4th rounder in as a starting wide receiver right away. Obviously, like I said, their wide receiver depth is pretty thin. But I think that he has a good opportunity to get a lot of catches, even in their run-based approach there in Tennessee with Mike Vrabel. So I do like that selection, though. Next out here, edge rusher Rashad Weaver out of Pitt. So Rashad Weaver, back up to Harold Landry. He'll be an outside linebacker in the 3-4 there. Just another Pitt guy that this year. I believe they had 3 pass rushers in the draft, kind of like Miami. And I don't have too much to say about Rashad Weaver, but I definitely know Pat Narduzzi and that Pitt coaching staff knows how to coach up defensive players that are pretty rough, stone cold. They're good players that come out of Pitt, so especially on defense. And then lastly, safety Brady Breeze out of Oregon. Really liked most of the Oregon defenders. You had Brady Breeze, you had Javon Holland, both safeties there. Brady Breeze is a guy that's interesting. He is slated as a third string free safety behind Kevin Byard and Matthias Farley. But he's a guy that's going to come in, automatically play special teams. Might even be, I wouldn't say might even, could be, a special teams captain someday. I think he's more of a hitter than a coverage safety. So I'll have to see how his coverage skills improve in the league. But I definitely like Brady Breeze out of Oregon. And, the Titans draft overall, like I said, I A++ for me from for the Titans from me. And we'll finish up with the Houston Texans here. So they had 0 starters out of their 5 draft picks. And it's kind of hard not to knock a team for not having a first-round pick, let alone not having a first or second-round pick. So, yeah. But let's go through their draft. 2 third-rounders. Quarterback Davis Mills out of Stanford. Wide receiver Nico Collins out of Michigan. 2 fifth-rounders. Tight end Brevin Jordan out of Miami. And linebacker Garrett Wallow out of TCU. And then 1 sixth-rounder defensive tackle Roy Lopez out of Arizona. Now, I like 2 guys from the Texans there. Quarterback Davis Mills, their first selection in the draft. I did actually like this selection. Whether Deshaun Watson is there or not, they needed a young guy to come in and be able to develop. They did trade for Ryan Finley, so I kind of thought that's who they were going with. I think once they saw Davis Mills available there for their first pick, they had to go get him, though, even with the amount of quarterbacks that they already had in Tyrod Taylor, Deshaun Watson, and Ryan Finley. Even though Deshaun Watson, as we know, does not want to be there, is essentially a pending move. So I do like that, though. Davis Mills, very smart guy out of Stanford. Not the biggest arm, but I think his mental acumen will get him on the field sooner than people think, especially for a team like the Texans that no one knows really what the actual direction of the team is. So the only other guy I like there, tight end Brevin Jordan out of Miami. He's slated as a third-string tight end right now. I have a hard time seeing him as that. I think he'll eventually be the second string, the backup to Jordan Akins, or even the starter. I mean, I think this guy is very good, can catch the ball, needs to work on his blocking. But I did see an interview pre-draft where he said, I don't know why people keep talking about that I can't block, because he said he loves blocking. So we'll have to see if he wants to block, the 280-pound defensive ends or, 300-plus pound D tackles coming on outside stunts there in pass protection, or, also in run blocking. So, but yeah, his receiving skills, however, I thought 5th round was a steal for the Texans. Very good receiver at the point of attack there. And that is definitely going to help whoever is the quarterback for the Texans. So, yeah, those are the guys that I liked there. So I'll get to my rankings here. 4th spot, 4th and 3rd were close, but I went with the Texans 4th and the Colts 3rd. Like I said, I liked 2 guys on each team. Technically 1.5, because, like I said, I did give Kwity Paye only a half a star because of his production was lacking at Michigan. So technically the Texans had a half guy up on the Colts as far as guys that I liked, but I talked about it right before I talked about the Texans guys that I liked. You got to ding the Texans for not having a first or second round pick, regardless of how their guys turn out. I just could not put the Colts below the Texans with 1, 2 less selections, and 2 because they didn't have a first or second round pick. So my number 2 team is the Jacksonville Jaguars. Love Trevor Lawrence. ETN, like I said, I think Walker Little will eventually be a starter, possibly even next season at the right tackle spot or left tackle. If they believe that Walker Little is the right move, they could just let Cam Robinson walk off that franchise tag and let Walker Little slide right in there. The J2 Fele there at fourth round there. Again, another solid selection, I think, in the interior as they build that defense up, back up from the ground there in Jacksonville. Lastly, like I said, Titans, fantastic job by the Titans this year. Liked every pick except one out of their 8 selections. I liked 7. So just in my mind, really, really crazy good draft there. I think, they have ESPN has 3 starters slated: Farley, Radens, and Fitzpatrick. I know Elijah Molden should get a lot of work. So should Rashad Weaver. And then, Monty Rice, Brady Breeze. I think they'll be contributors on special teams. Monty Rice more on defense as a sub linebacker there in pass coverage. So, yeah, those are my picks for the guys I liked. My rankings there. Just to recap, Titans 1, Jags 2, Colts 3, Texans 4. We'll have that posted on social media for your thoughts after the show. But next Monday, we will be having all the NCAA NFL news. As always, hopefully there is more than there was today. But also we'll have the AFC West draft recap as we wind down the draft recap series here. After the AFC West, we only have one more, the NFC West, and then we're done. But Friday, we'll be doing the NFC East draft recap, which should be definitely fun considering it's my Eagles. And we'll see if we can get some fans of the Giants and Cowboys on as well. I don't know any Washington fans, so I can't even, potentially promise that. So, but that is all the show for today. I'm happy I kind of stretched it out to half an hour. I thought that was pretty good for a solo show. As always, don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast on Twitter and Instagram, here on YouTube and Facebook as well. And check our website out, faapodcast.com. Click the little shop button in the top right, get you some cool merch. And we might even be having a sale coming up for July 4th, and maybe even a sale for my birthday. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, also don't forget to follow us on Spotify. We appreciate all the love. And thank y'all. And we will see you